Hello friends, so today we are going to cover one of the important topic called inheritance. Okay, that is one of the powerful features of object-oriented programming. And when we will work on a project right, that time inheritance does play a very important role and it will required as well for different purpose that we are going to understand. Okay, so first of all we have to understand what is the inheritance. So if you want to understand inheritance right, you have to think on that way. Let's say you are a person, right? Let's say we'll take example of person. Okay, that we are relating with the real world. Okay, object-oriented programming is directly related to the real world. You can relate them with the real world. Okay, so person is having some parents, right? Every person having some parents. So parents are having some features which could come to the persons, right? So what could be the feature will come that cannot be defined something. I mean, it may a number of features can come to the child's, right? So normally we do happen, right? Sometime our face do match with that parents, right? Sometime our voice does match. Sometime our activity which we do that also match, right? So that means here we are acquiring the property from the parents to the child. That is only called the inheritance, right? What it is? Acquiring the property, acquiring the property from parent to child is called inheritance, right? So what we can achieve for acquiring that, right? So that time we have some advantage of inheritance that is called code reusability, right? So whenever we have some person having some parents are acquiring some property to the child, right? So here person will be the child, right? And parents could be that parents of it, right? Same like here also whenever you are doing inheritance, right? We will create some classes. So here we do create some classes. The some classes will be a parent class and some classes will be a child class, right? So how can we identify which one is a parent class, which one is child class? And always remember that property will come from the parent to child, right? Not child to parent. So parent is having some properties, right? That will come directly to the child. So let's take one kind of arrow, something like that. So the parent property come into a child. So suppose parent are having some properties, let's say ID, comma name, comma address, right? Say like salary. So name, address, salary, ID, they are part of the parents. So that is a variable only. So what can be reused? We can reuse the variables only. So for variable reuse only, we are going to use inheritance, right? And then child will having some other properties. Let's say like child is having like suppose mobile number. So that means ID, name, address, and salary by default come to the child, right? And it will add one more extra field like mobile number. Okay, now let's give one more example here. Let's say we have one company which are having a like employee. So when we know that employee will in company having employee of different type, right? That could be, it could be HR, that could be a manager, right? That could be a developer, right? That could be a tester. I'm just giving like simple example. So employee in company having a different type of employee: HR, manager, developer, and tester, right? So if I will say that if company will hire the employee, so every employee will having ID, name, address, and salary and mobile number, right? Let's take example of this only. Every employee will having a this fields, right? As well as mobile number also. Then what could be differ here? only the role. Like HR is doing what? It is hiring the people. So here I will add one more attribute like hiring the people. Hiring people. Right? Manager, what does it do? It does manage the project. Right? Manage project. What developer does? Developer does write the code. Tester does do test the code. So right now I have a different roles of every employee. For HR is hiring people, manager is managing the people, developer that write the code, tester does test the code. But these five fields are same in this employee class. So whenever I want to use this ID, name, address, salary and mobile number, right, with different classes, I can use them directly, right? So employee could be the parent class here. Now here HR will be a one class, right? Manager could be a one class. Okay, developer could be a one class and tester also would be a one class. So HR having a HR role, manager is having a manager role, developer is having a developer role, tester is having a tester role, right? But these classes HR, manager, developer, test will be a child class of the employee class. And I will not define this ID, name, address, salary, mobile number into this HR, manager, developer and tester class. That by default come from the employee itself, right? How does it implement? Let's do in code right now. Okay, so first we have to understand inheritance. Inheritance is just acquiring the property from parent to child, right? Why we are doing this? We are doing this for code reusability. So we have a different type of inheritance as well, right? So we have seen one example that you can get to know more, that you can get more clarity on it, right? Why do we use inheritance? What is the purpose of it, right? What are the parent and child classes here, right? So we have a different type of inheritance. So first one is called single label inheritance that we are going to cover with the example itself, right? So let's to design this code first. So now I'm coming to the IntelliJ and I'm creating one in oops, let me create a one different package called inheritance, and I'm creating a one class here like again employee. So employee is having a suppose attribute, or it could be private string integer ID, right? Private string name, private string address, private string say like salary. Okay, I took this four variable here, ID, name, address and salary. Now let me generate getter setters also here. So go to this generate and just generate the getter setters completely for all the fields and create the constructor as well. So whenever you will create the Pojo class, right, model class, that's a model class that will having an argument, sorry, that will having getter setters. So getter is used for get the value, setter is for set the value. I've given the clear understanding of it. If you can watch the encapsulation program. At the same time, I will generate a constructor also here. So first could be a constructor that will not take any field, that will take all fields suppose, and one constructor that will not take any fields. So let's say which will not take any field like that. So that two constructor I will create. With the same I will create getter setters also. So that is the one class employee which are having a four fields ID, name, address and salary, right? Now I'm creating a one more class, say like HR employee. Then HR employee will extend what? Employee. So HR employee will having a one more only field which is called private string, like hiring people, something like that. So here I will add one more field, hiring people. With this hiring people, what happen, right? The rest of the things will automatically come. ID, name, address, salary, I don't have to define it. It will by default come with the employee here. Extends is the one keyword that will use to inherit the class. So after extend, whatever it is written like employee, that will be a parent class, and before extend, whatever is written, that is look like a child class. So HR employee is a child class here, and employee is a parent class. You have to look that what is coming after the extend and what is coming before the extend. If something is coming after extend, that means it is a parent only. If something is coming before the extend, that means it is a child only. So here I don't have to create all the fields. I have to only create getter setters of this single file, which is a getter people and setter people. Right? If required, we can create constructor also here. Okay, we'll see that constructor later on. Right now, I'm just creating getter setters into a child class. Right? HR employee is a one class. Now let's create a one more class. That could be say like suppose manager class. Employee manager. Manager employee. Manager employee also will extend what? Employee only. So here also that all five property will come. Only have to add it what? Private string. Like manage people or manage projects. Right? So what I will do here, I will create getter setters only for single variable called manage people. Right? So right now I have it may have a number of classes like tester, coder as well. I'm just going with the two only. So one employee will be a class that could be a parent class where I have a four fields ID, name, address, and salary. Right? One more class I have like HR employee, which is extending the employee, and here we have like hiring people with getter and setter. Same like we have manager, and then manager we have only one property, right? But I did not pass any property from the employee class, right? Now let me test this. So I will create a one class that could be employee test. And here I will keep man method because that is only managing the all three files: employee, HR employee, or manager employee, something like that, right? So what I will do here, first I have to create object here, right? So which class object I need to create? That is one of the important question here. When we are using inheritance, right? Which class object I need to create? So always remember that in inheritance, right? Let me make a note of it. Okay, please note down it. Inheritance, we will create object of child class only, because child class having authority to access the parent property. So be a one parent and one parent having a two child, right? One parent is having a two child, that means it may have a number of child, no problem. But what we do create object of the child class only. So I will create object of how many classes? Employee, sorry, HR employee and manager employee, right? So what I will do here, I will write HR employee, say HR equal to new HR employee. Then what I will do here, I will call the method. Say HR dot set. First I will set the value, right? I will call the ID 101. You can see here I am calling it HR dot set ID, right? Does HR having the set ID? No, it is coming from the employee only. That means I can directly use employee class property into a child class. So this is what I written, right? Acquiring the property of parent to child. What does it means? Child class object is able to access its parent property. Child class object itself is access the parent class property. Otherwise, what happened, right? Suppose if I remove this extends from there, if I will not write this extend here, right? That time it will be error for me. I don't have authority to access it. See, it is started crying only. It is saying that set ID is not a part of HR employee. Set ID is not a part of HR employee. Then what happen? It will start the crying and it will give a compile time error to me. Right? So if you want to access the property of the parent to child, we have to use inheritance. And inheritance could be applicable through the extends only. Right? So what I will do here, hr.setID, hr.set name, right? hr.set address, say USA, hr.set hiring people, right? So they are hiring one people, say like black, right? And what is that? Set address name salary. Salary could give some random value in string form, something like that. That means one HR employee is over. So inside this HR employee, I give only this one field. Set hiring people. Rest all the fields, set ID, set name, set address, set salary, they are coming directly from the employee only. That is a real time example of inheritance, right? That you can directly use in our company. Company does use that inheritance like that way only. Okay. Same way I will create the object of say manager employee. Manager employee me equal to new manager employee. Right. Then I have to call me dot see here. First we have to set the value, right? Set ID. Let's say it could be 102. me dot set name. Say like it could be a max. Right? me dot set kind of salary. Right? Pass some random values. me dot set what else is remaining? Address. Say like UK. What else is remaining? What is the role of it, right? Managing the project. So me dot that manage project, right? Manage project. So suppose he is managing like now e-commerce application, something like that. E-commerce application. It is a Gatman project only, right? Why it is giving error here? Get manager, set manager only, right? I think that was a name mistake. That's because of that it was giving error. So this time that remaining field, four fields, right, that directly coming from the parent. Only one field I created into a employee test and one field I created into a manage employee. Rest all field is coming from the employee only. Now let's display that as well. System dot out dot println. Right, what I want to display, let's go with the HR first. HR dot get ID. Right, now let's give a comma here. HR dot get name, HR dot get salary, HR dot get address, ID name, salary, and what is remaining? Role only, right? HR dot get hiring people. Now one sysout is completed now from the HR, right? Second will be for employee, like manager employee, right? So here it could be me dot get ID, right? Me dot get name, me dot get salary, me dot get address, and here me dot, it will be different method, right? There is no people method here, so I will write here me dot get manage project. So this time I'm using here ID name, set address, salary, right, and manager both, and I'm displaying here HR reference is giving me HR information, and ME is giving me like manager information. So if I will run this, you can see the result here. See now, I'm getting 101 black, right? 102 max and e-commerce. So that way we can use inheritance actually. Inheritance is nothing like acquiring the property from parent to child, right? That is a main use of inheritance, right? So we have a different type of inheritance. We have seen one type of inheritance when we have one parent and multiple child, right? That time it is called hierarchical inheritance. So the example we have seen, right? That is example of hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. Next, which we have remaining, that is one of the important part, or one of the important inheritance, like multiple inheritance. That we will discuss. That is one of the important part. And second, we will discuss, which is one of the important part, like constructor calling or constructor chaining in inheritance. Constructor chaining in inheritance. CNSTRU. That would be a new topic. Okay, so we will cover after this only. So please continue to watch to get complete clarity of this inheritance. Yeah, so that is about this today's session, this lecture. And thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe it. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.